This took a lot of work, but finally I got a 7-round mock draft here for you guys. Put in a lot of work, a lot of hours, and the easiest way to do this is to go by draft classes. So we're going to run through this since we're doing all 32 teams, and this is like 256 some picks. So let's go ahead, get into it. But first, we got to do that intro. What's crack-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know so, go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse, baby. So a few things coming up real quick. Senior Bowl. We're going to be streaming the Senior Bowl. Don't know if we're going to stream Senior Bowl week, but Senior Bowl game, I'm going to be here for a live watch-along. Prospect rankings, I'm still deciding should I do them after the Senior Bowl or do them before the Senior Bowl. You let me know in the comment section below. Let's go ahead. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, starting with the Arizona Cardinals. And we got Jordan Davis with their first pick. Corey Peters, he's 34. Lawrence and Fatu, they have been relatively ineffective at the nose tackle and B-gap position. Breece Hall, I thought was good because we're not re-signing James Conner. Sorry, better value. I really like this Alex Wright pickup, especially if Chandler Jones doesn't come back. These are two guys with similar builds. So I'm a big Alex Wright guy. So, yeah. Josh Jobe, it's not sexy. It's best player available at this point. Same with Taylor Stewart. I was a big fan of this guy for the last couple of years. He's got a lot of upside, just never really reached his potential. So just continue to add to that cornerback room. Javion, I think it's Highland? I don't know, man. I'm terrible with names. But he's a big vertical threat there at Coastal Carolina. We got another big nose tackle. And I included special team players. I think I had 6 altogether drafted in this class, just for a little bit more realism. Last year, there were 6 special team players between long snappers, punters, and kickers. So I included some here. San Diego punter. He's going to the Cardinals, man. Congratulations, Cardinals. Before we get into today's video, I just want to announce the Patreon's finally up. It's live. It's active. It's going to be the best way to support both me and the channel. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead, follow the link in the description. It's a 1-tier Patreon. And let me tell you what you get. You get access to my full big board, my full positional rankings, my evals on these guys rather than just the top 10s that you see on the channel. This is also where I'm going to have my team-specific 7-round mock draft videos. You're going to be able to communicate with me a lot better. Like if you want my opinion on a prospect, then you're going to just shoot me a message. You get discount on merch here as well. And you get access to a private room in the Discord. And I'm going to be pulling people from that private room to basically have on the channel just to talk football during some of our live streams. So putting in a lot of work to make sure that y'all are getting a lot of bang for your buck. And there are more perks to come. We'll keep adding them as we go. But go ahead, enjoy the video. I already know it's a banger. And then the Atlanta Falcons. I know, Jameson Williams, he went down. I don't know what the injury is yet. Some people said ACL. That's unclear as of right now, but I don't think he falls out of the first round. Could fall out of the top 10 because of that. Regardless, I like the pick here with Calvin Ridley. On his way out. Jermaine Johnson was a great pickup because I've been saying pass rush is probably by far the biggest need for this Atlanta Falcons team. Carson Strong was just great value at 63. I think he might have a slide depending on how the knee checks out. So it's just something to kind of keep your ear to. And he's kind of more pro ready than some of these quarterback prospects. Tyler Smith, don't know if he comes out. He hasn't announced yet if he will. But this is a guy that has tackle guard viability. Pretty darn good, dude. He's got some fun tape. Stupid strong and relatively pretty quick feet. Then I also got Zachary Carter. I think he's just a good fit for this defense. A guy that could play inside and out. Grabbing Leonard Johnson, a guy that really could play anywhere in the secondary, be it corner, slot, or even safety. Good cornerback depth, and I continue to get more cornerback depth with a guy like Sevyn Banks, who's available here. He's got great traits, good athleticism, just no production. He's probably going to fall for that. I don't think he goes undrafted. I'd be a little bit surprised, I guess, depending if he test well or not, but I think this is really good value for Atlanta's last pick. On to the Baltimore Ravens. We had a ton of picks, and I'm going to let y'all know, I went best player available. And we started with Nakobe Dean. Not necessarily an upgrade for Patrick Queen, more of a running mate. Don't get that twisted. Kyler Gordon, I thought was a good pickup. He made Bruce Feldman's freaks list for his explosiveness, so I think he'd be a welcome addition to the secondary. Perrion Winfrey, again, best player available. Sawyer, I don't have him moving up too much. This guy that quite frankly, honestly, he probably could move up to that 70 range. We'll see. I still got a long way to go when it comes to evaluate some of these interior prospects. And yes, I said it, I think he's an interior prospect. But this is actually perfect scheme fit. I think he might be able to stick at tackle in this Baltimore Ravens scheme. Maybe. And then Rasheed Walker, a guy that he's a developmental prospect at this point. He fits the blocking scheme. He's very traitsy, good physical upside. It's just in the big games, he kind of just didn't show up. Didn't really realize that potential. Rashad Walker, best player available at this point. He's just a home run threat with the ball in his hands, whether that's the passing game or the running game. I like Marcus Jones because, was it Tavon Young? He's a free agent. Jones is likely a slot corner in the NFL just because of his size, but dude's got great ball skills. Andre Carter II, he's a high upside pass rusher with length. That's still a bit raw. I mean, we're at this stage where we're just kind of like picking up talent. You know, guys, we don't expect to make immediate impacts, but that could probably be good long-term options. I like Brad Hawkins. He's kind of a no-nonsense box safety in the league. And then Christopher Hinton, surprised he came out. He's good depth, former 5-star, but he just doesn't have enough production to his name. This was his first year as a real starter for Michigan. Really surprised he came out, but good value at 196. On to the Buffalo Bills. We went Trent McDuffie, man. He's just a great fit for McDermott's scheme. He adds competition for guys like Levi Wallace, Dane Jackson. You got Johnson there as well. Marquise Hayes? He's kind of a phone booth blocker. And typically they're not my type, but man, I really kind of got behind him. I think in the right scheme, this guy is going to be really good. I think he has shades of... He could have shades of, like, you saw Damian Lewis a couple of years ago, just kind of like his draft stock really rise. Mainly, I think it was after his Senior Bowl. Not saying they're similar prospects, but I think he could have a similar projection or a similar trajectory. But getting some guard help. Khalil Shakir, phenomenal. I mean, Cole Beasley's 33. So you get a nice crafty route runner that's probably going to be a good slot guy, but he can play on the outside as well. James Cook, legit playmaker at the running back position, whether it's the rushing game or the receiving game. So we grabbed that. Ellis Brooks, potential maybe Emmons replacement. If anything, he's just good linebacker depth. I really like Thomas Booker. I'm really sad that he didn't get an invite to the Senior Bowl. He's going to the Shrine Bowl, though, I believe. But he's an interior guy who can immediately come in and be a pretty darn good run defender. You got Andrew Stuber, I believe. He played right tackle for Michigan. He ended up, I think he kicks into the inside. He has played right guard in the past. I think it was when Jalen Mayfield declared in 2020 or opted out. He ended up moving to right tackle, but I think he's an interior player. He's nice, big, and strong. So just grabbing more help at guard, more help for the offensive line in general. Kyle Phillips, man, I'm curious. Does this cat get drafted? Because he's a quick slot only prospect with a little bit of vertical threat, or a little bit of vertical capability. So I mean, it's late in the draft, taking shots on guys. DJ Dale, man, this is great value. It's just weird. Let me tell y'all. Great players fall in the draft. It just happens. Don't get on me if these guys fall. I haven't evaluated everyone, by the way. So there are going to be some guys maybe missing that you think should be included. I just haven't got to them yet. Carolina Panthers. This one was by far the toughest to do. I went Tyler Linderbaum first, and this was my mind behind it. Without trading back, because 7th-round mock, I ain't doing trades. Calm down, I ain't that crazy. But you got to really make this pick worth it. And the only way to make this pick worth it is if it's quarterback, because hitter on quarterback's huge. But again, this is quarterback class where it's like, are any of these guys, can you hit on any of these guys? Or you just need to hit on this player in general. Tyler Linderbaum, I feel like, is one of the safest prospects in this class. You come in, immediately probably be your center of the future. You can move him to guard. I really like him best at center. But so after this pick, I was like, all right, let's just go ahead. Let's just kind of go best player available. Let's not worry too much about our needs. Let's just add talent, especially with these these day 3 picks. But getting, Boya Mafe, the Minnesota edge rusher, he developed pretty well this season, but still for the most part pretty raw. But man, you really want these picks to hit, and then with Reddick being a free agent after this year, I mean, I think it's likely they bring him back. But if they don't, like Mafe, he is a great option. Caleb Elby was just really good value. Nice developmental option at quarterback. The guy's got an NFL arm. He's just a bit raw, man. Small sample size. There are times he puts too much air under them balls, but the guy has zip. The guy can throw with some zip. He just really needs to quit it's weird. He could be throwing a running back screen, and he throws it with a ton of air, where it's like it allows defenders to kind of get under it and like just smack his running back. There's some things he needs to work on, but again, I think that'll come with just time. Again, this guy doesn't have a lot of dropbacks to his name. Mike Rose, solid linebacker. I think he's going to be just a good depth piece. There's really nothing behind Shaq Thompson anyway. Getting a good developmental prospect at tackle here out of North Dakota, Matt Walt Zicko. I don't know. I'll get it. He's in the Senior Bowl. I'll get it by then. But Paul Alexander, that's right. The famous coach. Coach Paul Alexander, the famous offensive line whisperer himself. He's actually working with this cat. So we'll see more of him at the Senior Bowl. I can't wait. Bill Melton, I think he's a good vertical speedster and a guy that could move into the slot, but he almost played exclusively on the outside. So it was just good value at 248 that late in the draft. All right, on to the Chicago Bears. Kind of weird because I went 2 Georgia guys and then I went 2 LSU guys. Didn't even know I did that until now. But George Pickens, great value. I think there's a chance he maybe sneaks into the first round with a good combine. Like, this guy is a prototypical wide receiver size. And keep in mind, man, like Justin Fields and George Pickens, they were kind of like ships passing in the night. Like, Fields left Georgia the year Pickens arrived. So here, they cross paths. They finally meet one another. Darion Kendrick, good value at 71 to put alongside Jalen Johnson. You got Neil Farrell Jr. This is a guy that I think is going to perform pretty well at the Senior Bowl. He was a Senior Bowl replacement. And you need a Akeem Hicks replacement regardless. Ed Ingram, he is just interior help, depending on what they want to do with Daniels or Whitehair, like who's going to move back to center. So Ingram, just good interior help. Aaron Hansford, good linebacker help. So good linebacker depth. I should probably say it that way. So for 5 picks, I think we did pretty good for the Bears. On to the Shinchinati Bengals. Roger McCreary ended up being first off the board for us. I just want to get more talent at corner. I know Eli Apple, he's only 26. Is he the long-term answer? Probably not. Just based on his history of not being consistent. But I guess we'll see. Cornerback depth, it's great to have, so this ain't going to hurt you. Christian Harris probably going to go a bit higher than this after his national championship performance. I did like the first 3 rounds right before the national championship, so that's why you saw Jameson Williams go in the top 10. But Christian Harris, there was no offensive line talent available at this point for at least good value, so I went best player available, and I really think Christian Harris could be an upgrade over Wilson and Pratt. Abraham Lucas is just a pro-ready right tackle, especially if they don't bring back Riley Reiff. Dom Peterson's guy I'm pretty high on. He's an undersized interior player with a ton of upside. And this is on a defense that really loves to feature their interior players. So Greg Dulcich is another guy I really like. This was kind of best player available, maybe a guy that can compete with Uzomah. We got Nick Ford. I feel like I reached a little bit for Nick Ford because I was looking for potential like just interior guys, maybe a center to challenge Nick Harris, who's looked pretty good. If I could go back, this pick I'd probably change, potentially. Kennedy Brooks I like, though. Mixon, we know this dude's been injury-prone through his career, so you never know when he's going to go down. And Chris Evans, is he a guy, is he more than just a committee back? I don't know. Let's throw Kennedy Brooks up in there. Sterling Weatherford is just a very physically gifted safety who might actually end up being a linebacker, but a very versatile piece there. And then Josh Thompson, just depth at cornerback. Because like I said, man, like having a very deep cornerback room is big. And I mean, this is a late day 3 pick at that. So this guy's probably going to the practice squad. Cleveland Browns, Garrett Wilson. I've been beating this into y'all's heads. Y'all shouldn't even have to know why it's Garrett Wilson or any receiver. As a matter of fact, they already got Baker on a 5th-year option. So it's time to find out, hey, franchise quarterback, or is he not going to be our franchise quarterback? And then whoever you bring in next, they're going to be surrounded with immense talent. Devontae Wyatt, man, just the middle of this D-line isn't that good. Devontae Wyatt helps that out with some good explosiveness. Kellen Dyche is a guy that adds depth at both tackle and guard. Did I say Nick Harris? I think I said Nick Harris for Cincinnati. My bad. Nick Harris is here. Oh, okay, it was Trey Hill for Cincinnati that I was thinking of. And honestly, that's much better then. Oh, man. I bet you no one's going to get to this Cleveland pick and they'll be like, oh, Nick Harris isn't on the Bengals. Oh, that's going to be funny. Well, oh well. But anyway, Dyche, he adds depth. He could be a tackle or a guard in the NFL. The line was pretty banged up this past season for the Browns. Clark is just a nice run stuffing linebacker with good athletic upside. So gives them a little meat in the middle there. If Anthony Walker, this is a guy's a replacement level veteran starter at this point. I want best player available with Donovan West, baby. I like Donovan West. Good scheme fit here. That could challenge Harris. That's why I brought it up, dude. See, I got Nick Ford challenging nobody really. Because what, Trey Hopkins, Trey Hill. Honestly, Nick Ford come in and win that job. But here, Donovan West is a legit good prospect. Not saying Nick Ford is. He's just not one I'm in love with. So this guy could actually challenge Harris. Or, I mean, you could move West to guard. He has guard experience. James Mitchell, man, this guy's legit a good receiving threat. So maybe if Njoku, someone they don't want to keep, or maybe if they want to eventually get off of Hooper's contract, like Mitchell could be in that like tight end room for years to come. Zamir White, great value. We've seen running backs go down. Like we've seen Chubb, we've seen Hunt go down. So Zamir White's a good committee back. Dominique Robinson, he's a raw, high upside edge rusher. Played receiver just 2 years ago. So this is a project don't mind working on. On to the Dallas Cowboys. Trayvon Walker, man. This one was interesting. So they drafted Chauncey Golston in the 3rd round to be the eventual replacement for Basham and Armstrong. But Walker has a much higher ceiling. So I think grabbing him here was just good value. Nick Cross, absolute athletic freak. And at safety, and I mean, Dallas, all their safeties are free agents for the most part. Cam Taylor-Britt just adds more depth to that cornerback room, more talent specifically. Was Abina Eze? He's a big athletic developmental prospect at tackle. Like this guy can scoot for being as big as he is. So I think a dude with probably a bit better upside than Terrence Steele. Jack Campbell, again, just a good option at Mike linebacker. At the very least, good depth. Christian Watson is an interesting cat. With Galloway being a free agent, I thought I should go receiver with one of these picks. Watson's an interesting one, I'll say that. Can't wait to watch him at the Senior Bowl. And then Ridgeway is just more meat on that interior. Overall, I really like this class for the Dallas Cowboys. And then the Denver Broncos, new coach. We're going to get a quarterback, and actually Sam Howell ends up being the first quarterback off the board in this draft. So we grab the future here. Jaquan Brisker. I really want best player available, but like he's a replacement for Kareem Jackson, and I think he's just probably going to be better long term than Caden Stearns. Caden Stearns is really a guy you kind of want to sprinkle in. You don't want him to keep on the field too long because he made a lot of mental errors back at Texas. Daniel Falele, potential replacement at right tackle. Zach Harrison, very raw but high upside edge, who could probably even kick into 5-tech or kick inside of the 5-tech. We grabbed Quay Walker, dude. The Georgia linebackers are nuts, dude. But linebacker depth for a very injury-riddled linebacking core last season. Damian Pierce, man. I think he could be a solid complement to Javonte Williams and a good replacement for Melvin Gordon. That way, actually give a bulk of the carries to Javonte, but then you got Damian Pierce, who could be a solid, just complement. THT, I got him specifically probably moving in the slot at his size. He's been a shutdown corner on the outside, but at his size, probably moving in the slot, and Bryce Callahan is a free agent. Fadukasi, again, more linebacker depth. And then I like Latu. Cameron Latu, I think, is just a good potential tight end, too. So I really liked this draft class. I was very impressed with it. I gave myself a nice big pat on the back. Detroit Lions, let me explain. Because we see a long snapper taken. Only long snapper taken in this whole class. And I just thought, if a long snapper is going to be taken, it's going to be Dan Campbell. So we grabbed a long snapper at 238. But Kayvon Thibodeau ended up falling because Aiden Hutchinson probably went first. Malik Willis, though, he was there at 27. And I just couldn't stop myself. He could sit behind Goff. I mean, this is honestly a best player available. He gets the 5th-year option. He could sit behind Goff. And then I felt like we still did extremely solid in this draft class. Like, again, Malik Willis just fell to us. We didn't have to trade up or nothing. Jordan Battle helped in the safety room. And then we also got a high upside guy in Bubba Bolden, who just, the production hasn't been there for him. I could tell you as a Hurricanes fan, very disappointed. Chad Muma, great linebacker, really helped the middle of that defense. Then we grabbed a couple of receivers, Romeo Dubs, good vertical threat, and then Reggie Robertson, who is going to be a cat that he's a bit more complete, a bit more balanced to what he can do. D'Angelo Malone, best player available. Then Chase Lucas, good special team player. He's going to get drafted because of that, but he can play really anywhere in the secondary. He has that type of experience. And then the Green Bay Packers. We'll get to kicker in a minute, but let's talk about Kingsley and Enagbare. I just imagine both Smith brothers are gone, so let's grab pass rush. Packers are kind of weird to draft for. I'll just say that. Trey McBride. Tanyan's nice, but McBride is just a better athlete. Great value at 64. Max Mitchell. Great fit for the blocking scheme here. So a guy that could eventually maybe start at one of the tackle spots. Likely right tackle. Then we got Eric Izu Kanma. Man, I'm going to get that name. Just wait. Big-bodied receiver. He's got good after the catch ability, though. So maybe if potentially Devontae Adams leaves, bam, we get him. That was the thing, man. There was no receiver I liked, at least in the mold that I wanted, available for my first 3 picks. Merlin Robertson, grabbed him. Just he's a nice, lengthy, kind of hybrid linebacker. Who's got some upside to him. Haskell Garrett, great gap penetrator that you could put next to Kenny Clark. Velus Jones Jr. This guy's an old prospect. He's like 25, I think. But let's be real. They need some special team help, and you get a good return man in Jones. Was a Rosenthal, just good O-line depth, and then Jake Moody, excuse me. He's just an upgrade over Crosby. It's been a good run, but it's time to upgrade. On to the next. We got the Houston Texans. Straight up for Houston Texans, I just want best player available throughout this whole thing. I just wanted to add talent. Didn't really care about need. With that being said, we got Evan Neal. O-line just needs to get better, especially if they, I don't know what they're doing with Howard. Is he the left tackle? Is he left guard? I don't know what the Texans are doing there, and Laramie Tunzel might be traded. I don't know. We'll see this offseason. Arnold Ebiketie, again, great value at 37, and Jonathan Grignard was their best pass rusher. So, yeah, let's upgrade that. Wan'Dale Robinson, just a creative weapon for this offense. And then Isaiah Spiller at 80 was really good value, especially with David Johnson being your main back. Like, come on. Jack Sanborn, best player available. And luckily, actually, linebacker is one of the worst positions on the squad. Cade Otton, not necessarily a guy we needed, with maybe Brevin Jordan stepping up. They got a few other guys there at tight end, but Otton's a good blocker at the very least. Joshua Williams, we'll see him at the Senior Bowl. The guy's got freaky length. So I don't mind taking this cat out of college I never heard of. Jarrion Ely was good value here, and he's a receiving threat out of the backfield, a bit different than Spiller. And then Devin Taylor's a cat I really liked. He's a bit older, but he has kind of been a shutdown corner wherever he went. Virginia Tech, he transferred to Virginia Tech after playing for Illinois State, and they tried to move him to safety. I don't know why. It was kind of stupid. Then he transferred to Bowling Green, and he shut down Tennessee in the opener. Like, this guy, he had one-on-ones a couple of years ago against Antonio Brown. They did one-on-one drills. You go find that. I think it's somewhere either on Twitter or Instagram. It's wild. So just another high upside corner. Again, I'm just going best player available. Then Indianapolis Colts. I was surprised. I think I had a sneaky good draft for the Colts. We got to 47. There wasn't a tackle I wanted. I was kind of hoping maybe to get Desmond Ridder. I was like, I'll jump on him here, and then the team in front of me actually jumped on him, because when you're drafting for all teams, you're trying to play like 9D chess. So Martin Emerson was just good value with Xavier Rhodes, free agent after the year. It was just good value. Jackson Kirkland, though, we were able to get a tackle. Great value. Potential maybe future left tackle. We'll see. If anything, probably a good guard. Trey Turner, I desperately wanted to get speed at the wide receiver position. Trey Turner is speed. Smoke Monday, grabbed him because I love the name. But he's very explosive downhill safety who can probably challenge Kyer Willis. Also grabbed Brennan Cox, by the way. Oh, I'm not even wearing my hoodie for Brennan Cox. You can get those I Love Cox hoodies on broshmoshop.com. But really no one performed at the edge position outside of Pay last year. Then I grabbed some just offensive line depth, corner linebacker depth with Sewell and Hoffman. And then Brock Purdy, I just said, why not? Why not? Will he challenge Carson Wentz? Probably not, but I think he's better than Sam Ehlinger. There we go. Jacksonville Jaguars, they had the most picks. That's why you see Aiden Hutchinson here off to the side, because I couldn't fit all the picks. So took Aiden Hutchinson first overall. You could make a case for Evan Neal, obviously, but I don't know, man. I don't know, because Walker Little, he's kind of performed well in the little bit of time they've had with him at left tackle. Jawan Taylor, Yeah, he's a bit inconsistent, but I mean, give him one more year, and then I figured if we really want to address it, we could address it later in the draft, which we did with Trevor Penning. We got a good developmental prospect there at left tackle with good upside. Isaiah Likely, I think, is just a phenomenal threat. He could be a mismatch nightmare, whether you line him up in the slot, tight end, just get creative with him. Fedarian Mathis is just a good, great gap penetrator. Also improving the interior of that line because AJ Can, not great. I think Norwell, isn't he a free agent? So I know they got Ben Barch, but he's playing that right tackle, I believe. So got Lacetius, I think is how you say it. I'll get it by the end. I always get corrected on this. Smith. Good guard for Vatek. I like Danny Green. Listen, his ball skills might be a problem, but this guy's got good size, good speed. He's a very savvy route runner. But yeah, getting wide receiver depth and just competition overall. Avery Roberts is a great run stopper and blitzer with the ability to play special teams. Pierre Strong, just best player available at the time. Darian Butler was just, again, so it was... He was kind of sort of best player available, but I wanted to get a good coverage linebacker, and I actually really like Butler. Zion McCallum is another guy that's going to be at the Senior Bowl at Sam Houston State from one of these smaller colleges. So we'll get to see him, but this is a guy that athletically, he tested really well his senior year of high school. I think he was like in the 4.4. It was like 4.40. And he's got the length. Got good size, so yeah, watch out for that cat. Deion Noville is just best player available. Drew Deaton, best player available, and it was O-line. I can like O-line help, so overall, pretty good draft class. Kansas City Chiefs, man. I took DeMarvin Leal. He was there. He's a SPAG guy who could probably play on the inside or out. Lewis, I always want to say sign, but I forgot how they were pronouncing it during the national championship game. But a guy that could probably replace Sorsen, and also if the Honey Badger ends up being a cap casualty, I doubt it, but still, they like to run them 3 safety sets. Alec Pierce, I kind of took him a bit earlier than I wanted. I mean, he's for me an early day 3 guy, but I don't mind taking him at the end of day 2. No biggie, because he's got size, he's got speed, but more importantly, he's got size, and I think that's what the wide receiver room there really needs. Lante Taylor is a good lengthy corner, adds good depth. Isaiah Thomas, just another guy built like a Spagnola type of edge rusher. This one's kind of weird, right? Connor Hayward out of Michigan State. He's got some decent receiving skills for an H-back. Like he's that fullback / tight end there. I just see this as a new athletic Anthony Sherman. Tyler Batty, just best player available at the time. And Xavier Thomas was kind of the same thing. I'm really taking all these shots on just trying to get guys that could probably get pressure. And hopefully at least one of them maybe hits. Because I think that's the biggest need on defense. Melvin Ingram, keep in mind, veteran, 1-year deal. Frank Clark can't be trusted to be consistent. So, yeah. So that was the game plan I went in with the Chiefs. Game plan for the Las Vegas Raiders. I knew I wanted to address the receiver position. And then I said I will settle for value anywhere I can. But I did want to at least come out with 2 wide receivers, which I did. Kenyon Green was great value. Could come in and immediately play right tackle. Can play anywhere on that offensive line as well. Again, David Bell. I kind of wanted a speedster, but I couldn't pass on David Bell, dude. Just adding talent at the wide receiver position. I was like, you know what? I'll look for speed later. This is a cat that's so good after the catch. Logan Hall, kind of the Solomon Thomas, Cleveland Farrell replacement. A guy that could probably play on the outside on early downs and then maybe kick inside on passing downs, or you could just play him inside altogether. Jalen Naylor, he is that vertical speed threat. Micah McFadden. I like Micah McFadden. I'm hoping Gus Bradley would decide to use him correctly, which means, hey, this is one of the better blitz and linebackers in this class. Utilize him like that. I know Bradley, he doesn't like to bring more than 4. But come on, my dude. Just good linebacker depth here as well. Mario Goodrich. Again, more cornerback depth. And then Sincere McCormick, man. Just best player available. It's going to be a fun guy to have in that backfield. Los Angeles Chargers. This one was an interesting draft because a lot of this I was trying to find scheme fits. And I felt like I couldn't, but I felt like I could find guys that can serve some type of role. Like Emil, is it Ekiyor? Not exactly the best scheme fit to this offense. They're more of an outside, wide zone blocking scheme, but they do run quite a bit of inside zone. So he's a guy that could come in and maybe, like, if you want a little bit more meat, a little bit more power, could come in on those inside zone running plays and do that. But Charles Cross was a great get. Fell to me at 17. Same with Drake Jackson. Fell to me at 48. Kobe Bryant, I knew I wanted to address the corner position a few times, so we grabbed Bryant here. Troy Anderson, I feel like he's more of a projection at this point at linebacker. He's got great upside, but he's still a bit of a project. Keep in mind, this guy's, I think, only played the position for like 3 or 4 years. 3 years, I think, because he used to be a quarterback / running back / fullback. Interesting backstory of this cat. Cole Turner is legit just a replacement for maybe like Jared Cook. And he's actually a better receiving option than Trey McKitty. Trey McKitty's more of a blocker. DeMarco Jackson, linebacker depth. Caleb Evans, cornerback depth. Jashaun Corbin, I actually really like. He's got return capability, and he's just good running back depth because I really think they don't have good running backs there outside of Eckler. Cameron Jurgens is just probably a good center to develop as a backup behind Lindsey. And then Jordan Stout, I picked him because he could both kick and punt. So he solves all your issues, Chargers. Look at that. Los Angeles Rams was tough. They didn't have a pick till 101. I did the best I could do, and I was actually pretty happy with this draft class. Leo Chenal, this cat is, I don't trust him in coverage. He's going to be like a 2-down guy, I think, in my opinion, who can blitz very effectively, who's going to be a big, meaty, not meaty, but he's a bit meaty for today's linebackers, but he's going to be a good run defender. Bailey Zapp just was kind of hard to pass by. I was like, you know what? We could start developing a cornerback to maybe eventually challenge Stafford in a few years, and Zapp was very impressive. Braxton Jones is a developmental guy at this point who could maybe be a replacement for Whitworth, who I think said this is his last season. Not positive, though. Things could always change. Hassan Haskins is, if they don't bring back Sony Michel, like Sony Michel comes in and fills that like the same role that Malcolm Brown used to fill. So maybe if they don't want to pay Michel, they go ahead and grab Haskins. Good value. Kyler Schott, I think is how you say it. Just good scheme fit. Christopher Allen, I think, could be a real steal. I really think he probably ends up not going drafted. But injury literally cut his season like short. Like, he was wreaking havoc against Miami for like his first 10 snaps, and then I think it was an ankle injury. I can't remember specifically, but I think he was on his way to a breakout season. I think we'd be talking more about him rather than Dallas Turner, who came out and was pretty darn good for Bama. So I think he could be sneakily a really good prospect to snag at the end of day 3. Jake Ferguson, best player available, and then Emeka Emezi. He's a big-bodied contested catch guy who's actually saw a lot of success this past season. Like, he lit up Andrew Booth. So there might be something there. Now, fins up, baby. My Miami Dolphins. You should know my position. You got a lot of salary cap. Address offensive line in free agency. I'm tired of getting, why are we going to get more inexperience, more youth on the offensive line? We're just not going to give Tua a fair evaluation if that's the case. He's going to be running this RPO nonsense and getting the ball out within like a second. We're not going to get a fair evaluation of Tua. So bring in vets. Doesn't mean I didn't address the position. I took a shot at it some there with Jalen Mckenzie, a guy who really started blossoming this year. Kind of thought he would be a dude to not really hit his potential, but I thought he was very good. Like, he's a lot quicker than anticipated. He's got good strength, like good developmental guy. They're out of USC, similar to Austin Jackson. Both were very raw, but you know what we're gonna do with Mckenzie? We're gonna sit him until he's ready, instead of ruining him like we did with Jackson. Regardless, I was close to going Kenyon Green at pick 22, but I just couldn't. I took Drake London. I really wanted Drake London. I want more weapons for Tua, and I kind of fell into that stinking. I figure, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's invest a little bit in a line or a running back, since we'll probably invest a lot in free agency on the offensive line. Let's at least let's get a guy that can pair up with like a Duke Johnson, because Duke Johnson, finally coming out, finally having his breakout season after what? How long has he been in the league? Like 6-7 years. Kenneth Walker, though, great addition. I like Darian Beavers, and this was before Flores got fired, so don't really know what the defense may look like, but I see Beavers as this, like, maybe a Dante Hightower, potentially. If not, then probably maybe more of a Jamie Collins, but I don't think he's going to be that good at coverage. I really feel like Beavers is an edge just playing linebacker. So that's why I kind of feel like he's more like a Hightower. Matthew Butler, I'm looking for a playmaker and nose tackle. Calvin Austin, the third, is just a fascinating weapon. I was like, you know what? I kind of want that. Then I just grabbed a couple of guys that'll probably be good on special teams. And dang, Corker kind of was best player available at that time. Surprised he fell to 20. But I think that's just because he's like he's really a box only guy. So on to the Minnesota Vikings. We grabbed a lot of Cincinnati prospects, Ahmad Gardner and Myjah Sanders, with the first 2 picks. So we grabbed a freaking sick edge, just adding more talent there with the pass rush, especially with the futures of Griffin and Hunter kind of being murky. The cornerback position is easily the worst on the squad, maybe even in the league. So Ahmad Gardner was like a no-brainer, and I decided to double dip. Like Tariq Woolen, he's a guy that made Bruce Feldman's freaks list for the athleticism of his size. This is a good depth guy. Might not be ready to play right away, but could be a stud in the future. Dontario Drummond is a very interesting guy. I think you could use him a variety of different ways, just getting the ball in his hands and kind of letting him work after the catch, or maybe he's a dude you want to bring in the backfield. Either or, I think he was a good pickup. Michael Clemens is just a strong pass rusher who's probably more of a rotation type of edge. Spencer Burford could end up being a tackle, could move into guard, maybe even center, because he is sub 300, but he's a guy that it's just a good scheme fit. Well, was a good scheme fit. I don't know what they're going to be doing there in Minnesota. Elijah Hicks, best player available, and on top of that, you know what? Things were looking good with Cameron Bynum. Maybe you go back to another Cal prospect. And then Jelani Woods, he's just a big athletic tight end. Yes, please. All right, New England Patriots. Only 5 picks. I think that's the least in this class. But I feel like I used them pretty well, man. Kyer Elam, I ended up grabbing him over Roger McCreary because I think he's a better fit in terms of his size and length for what the Patriots are looking for. So that's why I went with Elam. I know he's coming down on he's coming off and down year by his standards, but it was still a pretty good season for him. Nick Bonito is just a Belichick-like prospect. Jalen Tolbert is a big body deep threat for Mac and Cheese, better than Nelson Aguilar. Then Verone McKinney III. Let me tell you, McCourty, he has to move on eventually, right? That dude's up there in age. And you know what? The Patriots, they had success drafting a safety out of Oregon and Patrick Chung. That worked out well. So maybe McKinley works out pretty well. And then Damian Daniels is just more meat for that interior. They got Gacho, who they grabbed from Miami last year. Not the Hurricanes, but the Dolphins. And he's played pretty well, but he's only on a 2-year deal. So he's got 1 year left. So grabbing a guy here at late day 3, maybe to develop, could work out. New Orleans Saints. Jameson Williams didn't fall to me. I still want to stick with my plan of going burner, so we grabbed Chris Olave. So still works, man. More firepower receiver, a guy that can stretch the field. Zion Johnson. Love this pickup because guard is by far one of the worst positions. It is the worst position on that offensive line. Cesar Ruiz, he's not panning out. Maybe you move him to center and you move McCoy to guard because, well, Ruiz, he played center all in college. Andreas Pete is just terrible. Calvin Throckmorton, not good either. So, yeah, grabbing Johnson was a must. Jerome Ford, I like. Pairing up. Let's pair up Kamara with another former Alabama running back. If you didn't know, he transferred to Alabama. I didn't put the wrong logo. He's from Cincinnati, transferred from Alabama. Kirby Joseph. Don't know what they're doing with Marcus Williams. So even if they bring him back, this is good value. Tyler Davis. I just wanted more depth on the defensive interior. They really just have Tuttle and David. Don't want to butcher his last name. It's like Onyeta. Man. See, I'm already butchering it. Not even gonna try. Jared Stearns. He's a real fun threat in the slot. Like almost all his snaps came in the slot. He's not exactly he won't blow you away with his athleticism, but it's solid enough. Really good after the catch. Very fun to watch prospect. Nate Landman, he's just a special teamer. So nothing to really talk about there. New York Giants really addressed the offensive line. I went in on the offensive line, grabbing guys like Icky, Darian Kennard, who could play tackle or guard potentially. Same with Icky, he could play tackle or guard. And then I grabbed probably a center-only prospect in Dylan Parham. So really addressed. I even got a blocking tight end in Jeremy Rucker, who does have athleticism, could be a receiving threat. It's just Ohio State didn't use him a lot like that. I got help in terms of the pass rush. Karlaftis, I know everyone's mocking Karlaftis and Icky. It just makes so much sense. I don't know what to tell you. Brian Osama, though, freaking great athlete at the linebacker position. They really have no one outside of Blake Martinez. Brian Cook was best player available, and I mean, kind of worked out because Peppers is a free agent. Logan Ryan is more of a veteran leader at this stage of his career than a guy you want consistently on the field. And then you'd be like, why'd you dress running back twice in a row? Well, Saquon Barkley, you think you're bringing him back? I don't think you are. And then, I mean, the next best guy you got is Devontae Booker. Not a big fan. So Brian Robinson, this was again before Joe Judge got fired. Regardless, we still grabbed two very solid. I was thinking like Brian Robinson's like the Damian Harris. But again, Joe Judge fired. Irrelevant. Still wanted to go running back. While Tyler Algier, I believe is how you say it, is a guy that he's a home run threat. Straight line speed is nuts. So you got power, you got speed. So I liked it. I thought it was a quality draft for the Giants. And then on to the Jets. Man, Jets fans really hate Derek Stingley. I don't get it. I think he's injury prone. I mean, so was Frank Gore. I mean, the talent's there for Stingley. We'll know more at the combine. But yeah, the talent is there. It's sorry, but your cornerback room isn't stopping me from taking one of the top corners in this class. We grabbed David Ajabo, though. Gifted athlete. I really think Saleh would really like this. Love this cat off the edge. Brandon Smith. Like, the Jets linebacker room is by far probably the worst in the league. Plus, the Giants picked next, and all they have is Blake Martinez. So I was like, you know what? Let's pull the trigger on Brandon Smith. We were able to address the offensive line because I know Jets fans, they're like, oh, Joe Douglas loves the offensive line. So we're probably going to draft it early, which you still do. I mean, this is all day two. Bernhard Ryman, who could end up being a banger at one of the tackle spots. Sean Ryan is a guy that's been playing left tackle who a lot of people think probably ends up being a guard in the NFL. Grabbed receiving talent like Justin Ross, good contested catch guy. Hopefully everything checks out medically. But 6 picks later, I went with Sky Moore, dude. He is legit a playmaker that I think LaFleur's would love at receiver. This cat's really good after the catch. I think you do a lot of fun things with him. And then if Marcus May moves on, I grabbed Bell out of Florida A&M. I think he's going to the Shrine Bowl, maybe. Potentially, I know there was a big fuss about him not making the Senior Bowl. Then Jim Nagy had to come out and be like, whoops. And then Cade York. Last year, the first kicker came off the board at 149, so we're doing it at 161 with the Jets, who their kicking game wasn't all that in a bag of chips last year. On to the Philadelphia Eagles. With all these picks, I feel like we really won out. We grabbed Andrew Booth at 15, just adding talent to the cornerback room. Treylon Burks at 16. Let me tell you, dude, if this guy could be the DK Metcalf to Devontae Smith's Tyler Lockett. So I really like that. Devin Lloyd, listen, linebacker is the worst position on that defense. It's a 40-year streak that they haven't taken a linebacker, in the first round. It's got to be broken at some point, right? It's probably going to happen the draft. You have 3 first-round picks. Cameron Thomas, man, kind of fell to me at 51. Just good value. Just feels like a Philadelphia type of edge rusher. John Mechie, man, coming off the ACL. I really like this. It adds just more playmakers on offense, and it really gives Hurts no excuses. Damani Richardson is just adding some youth at the safety position. Michael Maietti, I believe is how you say it. He's just like Jason Kelce, undersized center, and actually he played really good football in the SEC for the last couple of years. Terrell Bernard is more linebacker depth. Zonovan Knight, just best player available at that point, and probably an upgrade over like a Boston Scott and Jordan Howard. PV is a good rotation player to have on the interior, while Charlie Collier was best player available at the time. So overall, I liked this draft class. I'm going to say that about every draft class. I'm not going to tell you all the ones I really didn't like. Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett. I've had to bring the hometown product home. Had to do it. So then how did we do for the remainder of the draft? I might not think that they go Pickett. I might think that, hey, they're probably going to bring in one of these veteran guys, but I can't really assume that. Regardless, we grabbed Nicholas Petit-Frere. I thought that was good value, a guy that could play right or left tackle. Jojo Doman is more of this sub-package coverage linebacker / slot to kind of help the coverage there in Pittsburgh. Amari Barno, man, he's a developmental hybrid pass rusher. I really picked him because it was just best player available. Castro Fields, good scheme fit, adds some depth to that cornerback room. Alex Forsyth. At this part in the draft, you're not really expecting starters, but he's a cat that can maybe start at center that allows Kendrick Green to move to his more natural position, being guard. And then Cameron Good, he's listed at edge, but he's kind of played off ball at points, but this is more so he's a good special team player. All right, on to the San Francisco 49ers. There wasn't a corner at the value at 53 that I was willing to take that I thought was good value. Travis Jones. Straight up, Javon Kinlaw is kind of on bus watch at this point. Travis Jones, he good. Jalen Pitre, though, I liked this pick for San Fran because it gets someone who can be healthy in the slot. They've really struggled with health the past couple of years. Not this year so much. What is it? Is it Quan Williams? He was healthy this year, but he's been hurt in the past. So I like the idea of grabbing Pitre. Like, he might be the best slot only prospect in this class. But we were able to get Mikael Wright. Hey, add another Oregon cornerback to the depth. Like, Diamador Lenoir was fine this year, so grab Wright. Ali Gay, Niners, they love their pass rush. Alec Lindstrom, potential replacement for Alex Mack. Good scheme fit. I'm not going to butcher the tight end's name from Maryland, but good athletic option. I thought the value was right. Keep in mind, this is like right at the end of the 7th round. But Paul Grainer Jr., he is good depth and comes from a similar scheme there under Chip Kelly at UCLA. And then on to the Seattle Seahawks. This one, I kind of felt like I wanted to go best player available. I'm just going to assume, since Pete Carroll's coming back, that they're also going to bring back Russell Wilson. So we grabbed Daxton Hill. More so with Diggs being a free agent coming off the serious injury in the finale this past weekend. You got Hill, who can be that deep threat, real legit. He can be a center fielder, or he could end up being your slot corner. I think you're doing a disservice, but you can move them all around because Amadi hasn't been that good in the slot. So I thought Daxton Hill was good value. Sam Williams. Seattle needs pressure. Their only edge rusher this season that's been doing well has really been Carlos Dunlap. He's not going to be around forever. So Sam Williams has a good upside. Jermaine Waller, keep swinging at the corner position. Keep swinging until you get it right. And then I grabbed some offensive line help with there Mumford, who could probably play tackle or guard at the next level. He's more of an NFL-ready prospect. And then Chris Paul, man, I'm telling you, he's a guard with great size and a bit of athletic upside. Like, I think this cat might be able to see. He plays right tackle, but he might be able to stick to tackle in the NFL. He's interesting. And then Damari Mathis is just more cornerback help. He might be a safety at the next level too. So that's what we did with Seattle. On to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I don't know what, like, I just went in, was like, all right, who's a free agent this offseason? They already lost AB, Chris Godwin. He's a free agent. So went ahead, Jahan Dotson. Let's get a nice speedster there. Zach Charbonnet. The only running back I think they have on the depth chart next year is Keyshawn Vaughn. So Charbonnet comes in and he's kind of like the Leonard Fournette, because they're not going to sign that guy to big money. And then I like this because Kyron Williams is kind of like the James White, Giovanni Bernard role there for Brady. And then we grab Pascal, who I think is a 3-4 edge or 3-4 end in the NFL. He's gonna be a really good run stuffer. Amore Davis, however you pronounce it. Good cornerback depth. Quinnen Lake, good depth, good special teamer as well. So overall, I thought this was pretty solid. Dressed some positions of need. And then the Tennessee Titans. Matt Corral, man. I know. Listen, he can sit behind Ryan Tannehill. This way, when you pick him at 31, you get a fifth-year option on him. Maybe this spurs Tannehill to play better. And at that point, Matt Corral, you still got a bit of value just because he's a first-round quarterback. You still probably trade him away later in the future if things do go well with Tannehill. But this is a good option if things don't. Jalen Wademeyer, best player available there at 95, already better than anyone else in the tight end room for the Tennessee Titans. Jaquari Robertson, I wanted to add some speed to receiver, and he is a speedy slot guy. Luke Godek, I don't know. Another name I need to learn to pronounce, but it just adds more offensive line. It adds more talent to the offensive line. He's a guy that I think is going to have a big Senior Bowl. Tyree Johnson, listen, Landry, free agent, and Bud Dupree's just not good. Like, he's a fine edge too, but he's not going to live up to that contract. Tyree Johnson, there's a lot not to love about his game. Like, his size, it's not ideal, but this might be the most explosive player off the edge in this class. Like, I went to go back to watch DeMarvin Leal and Michael Clemens, and he was the guy just popping off, like jumping out of the film, that I was like, whoa. Bumper Pool, good linebacker, just some linebacker depth with John Brown and Rashaan Evans leaving likely. And then PJ Mustapher, just more nose tackle competition, a guy that you hope makes the squad after training camp. And then finally, the Washington football team. Kyle Hamilton at 11. I couldn't justify going quarterback with Kyle Hamilton there. Like, it was tempting. I really thought about doing it, but I was like, you know what? Maybe something falls to me, or maybe they trade for some, like a Jimmy Garoppolo or someone. Maybe bring back Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't know. But we were able to get Desmond Ridder in the second. Now, I mainly picked him up here because the next picks after me were Atlanta, Cleveland, Minnesota, Indianapolis, and New Orleans, who all could easily go quarterback. So I was like, screw it. Let's take Desmond Ridder, man. Like, this is maybe a bit higher, but quarterback value is a freaking thing, man. So we were able to grab a quarterback potentially of the future in the second round, and Hamilton, who is a top 5 player in this class. Shannon Tyndall is just an explosive downhill linebacker to really help out that linebacker core, especially if Jamin Davis continues to struggle. Cade Mays, I think he's going to be a really good guard in the NFL. Like, he's really improved since kind of struggling initially at Tennessee. Who else we got? We got Charleston Rambo. He might make the squad in case De'Ami Brown, maybe the team's not impressed with him. I don't know why. Malcolm Rodriguez, good special teamer. So overall, I think the first 4 picks, which typically you really want to hit on those first pick, you want to hit on your picks from the 1st to the 4th round for the most part, because that's where all the talent is. And then it's kind of whatever in like the 5th to 7th round. You're kind of just maybe taking shot on guys, hoping it works, or maybe these are guys that kind of fill roles for you. While those first 4 rounds, you're taking shots at talent, man. And I thought we did good. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. My voice is about to be gone. This video is probably going to be like an hour. I still got to do the thumbnail. I still got to edit the video. Man, oh man. But yeah, give it that thumbs up, man. Put in the work. I deserve it. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.